7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
The Savachi syndrome, I'm telling you, I'm
like, well, holy shit, that was crazy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Moto Aftermath Show presented by TLR Coatings. We are here wrapping up Salt Lake City round and drama, some interesting things, but overall, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I slept through like half that race yesterday. Like, my phone woke me up because somebody was coming over to drop some stuff off, and that's the only reason I woke up for the LCQs, to be honest with you. So, yeah, let's jump right into this. Number one, please subscribe. We are getting more subscribers, but please tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your aunt, go make a fake account, get your dad in here, whatever, it doesn't matter. We need subscribers. If you guys want to follow us on Facebook, would be awesome at the Moto Aftermath Show. I do a Friday show, Friday show, where I kind of preview and touch base on some of the news and notes of the week and preview the upcoming track and that kind of stuff. You can also follow me on Instagram. We are coming into riding season. There's more and more motocross content going up on that all the time, so you can follow me on there. If you do want to support the channel here, like monetary wise, you can donate on Patreon. That's always an option. There's also Amazon links in the description below. That's an option. Click one of those, go to Amazon, buy something. Or you can also go buy a t-shirt off Teespring. At some point we're getting t-shirts.
Maybe we'll wear them for the National.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have them by July. And then for Destinations also.
Yeah, nobody's going to know what the hell it is, though. So, you know.
Dude, we already got people coming with t-shirts to Destinations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, do we have to have a meet and greet? You know,
we could. We could set up a tent, bro, and sign some autographs. For the whole 3 people that are going to be there for us.
Okay.
It's going to be awesome. So, anyway, so Salt Lake City round. Thoughts on the track? 3, 2, 1, and go.
Well,
okay, great. Awesome. Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I told you on Thursday, it's basic. I mean, the shit turned to concrete. It was a lot hotter than normal.
Did you watch my preview show at all?
Yeah.
What did I say?
The same thing that I told you on Thursday night when we were at the movie theater.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only thing that was gnarly about it was the 2 sets of whoops.
Yes.
And
they were gnarly as fuck.
The lack of a pre-whoop going into each one of them, so as soon as you slammed in the face, you were going over the bars. I don't know, I mean,
like
we're getting to the point where, like, I think that, you know, and I just said this before we came on the show, a lot of these guys are getting ready for outdoors, and I think even the track builders are at the point where they have these ideas at the beginning of the season what they're going to do with the dirt and, you know, the climate and the stadium, you know, the possibilities, and then they just go, well, yeah, no, we're at that time of the year because, like, people forget that, like, a lot of these guys that build these tracks also do stuff for outdoors, and they got to start getting in the mindset, so they're already, you know, people are like, well, that's weeks away. Well, the thing is, these guys are already starting to prepare and think about different things, and because we're at the tail end of the series and not a lot's really going on, I don't mean to be rude or say something shocking, but the effort isn't always there with some of these things. Like, I'm not saying nobody's putting the effort in, but let's be real. I mean, that track was the most basic one of the year. I mean, even AJ Catanzaro was saying that, you know, on press day, he goes, look, depending on what happens with this dirt and what they can do with the traction, like, this is, you know, I could do everything on a 125. You know, so it's like...
It wasn't overly difficult.
No, the only thing that was really gnarly was that triple before the wall. Like, the fact that the 250 guys were, and that was, once again, traction. People were like, well, dude, there was no, you know, no short of a transition out of the 180, but I'm like, no, the traction wasn't there.
Yep.
Like, it's just small little things you don't see. You know, your wheel speed might be 2 miles per hour off, and that's causing you not to get the drive to get over the landing.
Didn't somebody case that hard in the heat race?
Yeah, Hayden Melross.
Yes,
he framed the shit out of it.
And still stayed in that spot, though. That was
But
awesome.
he backed her way down. He's like, yeah, no, I'm just going to mail it in.
Yep.
So, no, it was, I mean, the track was gnarly only because, I mean, had it been a normal 55, 60-degree day in there, you know, with a little bit of wind, but, you know, even a night race, I mean, the track might have been better because it would have been tacky until the mains, but, I mean, dude, it was a shit show. Not a lot of guys were pushing the pace. That's about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was hard, slick, dusty, rocky. It reminded me of my track in my house, to be real honest, because I just throw everything in there, so...
Although, did you see, and he only did it one time, that Baggett tripled into that corner?
I didn't.
Yeah, after the split lane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he tripled into that corner one time in the 450 main.
Huh.
I'm like, wow, nobody's tried that at all. And he actually got over it clean, so I'm like, I'm really surprised nobody set themselves up to do that.
I was a little shocked that they talked about how the inside was so much faster, and then like immediately guys started going to the outside, and then they realized it really wasn't faster this time.
Well, and the problem was, too, it would have been faster. It's faster in a practice situation, but in a race situation, you have to account for people on the outside and the way you have to square off that roller, and you're not trying to fade over on people and shit, so everybody just kind of like checked up and then soaked it up. But, no, I mean, I would definitely say it was probably even more basic than A2 was.
Yeah.
So...
Did you, before we get off of the track talk though, did you see that initial drawing they had done for the Arena Cross this weekend? That it was going to have like...
for Vegas coming in?
No.
For Reno.
The Reno.
Oh,
where
no.
they had, okay, so the start came down, and then there was like midway down the straightaway, it like split and came back. It was almost like a roundabout in the middle of it, but it was weird. It was the weirdest thing. They ended up taking it out. They didn't end up doing
that'd be a bad.
But yeah, no, because it wasn't like right off the bat like they were split. It was like you came out and then you split around. It came back together. It was
so almost
weird.
kind of like what Monster Cups tried to do in a different sense, like with the dual lanes on each side.
Yes.
Yeah, that's never a good thing because you're at one point going to have somebody come from the outside or the inside and they're going to get loose and go like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
It was wild, but they didn't end up doing it.
Well, that's a good thing because there's a lot of sketchy dudes that ride Arena.
So, anyway, all right, that's been track talk. Let's get into these 450s.
Sorry.
So the 450s, we got a little bit of drama going on. Jason Anderson goes to the first corner, sticks his front wheel right in Tomac's foot peg, breaks a few spokes off, and boom, just like that, we got a points race.
Dude, how crazy was it that the one fucking time Anderson really has issues, it's a bike issue.
And it's the day that he could clinch the title.
And in all places, it's in Salt Lake. He's already hating life right about now.
Yes. As he's screaming, "Hurry up!"
Oh my
Can't
God.
breathe. Oh god, that was great. As I told you, when I saw him laying in the corner, in the first corner, I was like, whatever.
Oh yeah.
4th, 5th place, it's fine.
Yeah.
When I saw him in the pits, I went, oh.
Because all he had to do was get to 5th if Marv won and he would have won the championship.
Yep.
So it's like, oh my god, and then of all things, that happens.
Yes. So that was epic. It took him forever to change the front wheel. The guys were asked in the press conference of, hey, do you guys ever practice this? And nobody wanted to answer it really, and they kind of just beat around the bush. But the correct answer is no, they do not practice that.
No.
And even though we've seen this now 3-4 times in the last 2 years, no teams practice it. I don't know why. Seems like a bad judgment call. They should be MotoGP status. They should be able to figure out a way. Because there's no rule that the axle has to be stock, right?
No.
So why don't you
They run titanium axles.
Why don't you figure out a quick change? Like a pedal bike. I mean, they do it with those mountain bikes, and those mountain bikers are freaking gnarly.
I think because we've gotten to the point with wheel technology and tire technology that most of the time we see people changing tires is because of tubes. But now because of the moose tube and stuff and that thing barely punctures, it's very rare to blow spokes out because of the heavy duty. But I agree. I don't know why some of these guys don't. I mean,
when it happens.
I mean, we used to do it on practice days. We used to test that stuff out. Not so much with the front, more with the rear, just because you got more going on with the rear. But yeah, I'm a little shocked that they don't practice it more, but I think that these guys think that the chance of it happening is like 5%. But that 5% means something.
I was going to say, well, that 5% just cost them winning the title yesterday, as opposed to now we're going into Vegas not with the title and going, well, if something like that happens again, Marv could win this title now.
Although, the big thing I want to know is what the fuck was Dino doing in the pits? Like, nobody ever showed what he did. He just pulls up and he looks next to Anderson, and it's like they're having a conversation, and he just like sits there, and I never see him do anything.
He was just double checking on his boy to make sure that everything was okay.
I'm just wondering, why did Dino pull in the pits? He was running like 6th when it happened.
I don't know.
So I really hope that comes out, like, because I didn't see him like change a glove, goggles, nothing. He just sat there, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Well, maybe we'll find out this week with something.
Hopefully.
So, Tomac, another good race, but as we've talked about, Tomac's going to Tomac, and making the move on Baggett and just blows the top of that roller.
Hey, you need to find that tough block. It took him out.
It wasn't even the tough block. He didn't hit the damn tough block.
You need to find that dirt. It took him out.
He just had that he had that front end so loaded, hit that roller in that corner, and just you can watch it. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. Literally his front end just pushes through the top of that roller. It's hilarious. So, I mean, he still came back at 2nd.
And we just continued to listen to Ralph make himself sound stupid. Yes, with two laps to go, 10 seconds behind, Eli's going to catch
gonna
Marv.
make it.
Yes, he's going to make up 5 seconds a lap. It's going to happen.
No.
And you need to stop before the finish, before the 2 lap, or before it hit the countdown clock hits 0, so you only have to do 1 lap.
Josh Hill was doing that.
Oh, dude, he was struggling.
He was
That's why I
like
texted
looking
you.
like this.
He was just like, oh god, clutch disengage, oh god, fuck.
Josh Hill, 450 LCQ, trying to run her down to nothing, so that he crosses and white flag.
Oh my god, this is like a thing now with Ralph, and I'm so glad we only have to listen to him 1 more weekend, and then it's just and then
we're on a GL. And
hey, Lee's GL.
Yeah.
Lee's GL knows what he's talking about, but he's drunk.
He might be
time,
lit
so.
as, but he's
he makes good commentary. So how about Baggett though? Baggett rode pretty good. I mean, I know the circumstances, but
quiet podium, I guess.
It's just like I said. It's good the fact that he looks more healthier than we thought, so we could actually have him up there for outdoors.
Bodes well for outdoors.
Yes,
so
it does, because it wasn't looking good, people.
No, it was not.
And what? Craig got 4th. Barsha got 5th.
Yep, Craig tied his best finish because he was 4th in Daytona. So.
Well, the track suits him too. I mean, hard patch slick. He just floats through sections.
Technical.
Yep. You know, I feel bad for my guy Weston. Once again, wins his heat race, kills it in practice. Bad starts, but I mean, shit happens.
I'm not gonna lie, I slept through him winning that heat race too, to be real honest.
He looked good. He looked good. I mean, Eli caught him, but he rode good.
I'm Instagramming this morning, and it's like, Weston Pike wins this heat race, and I was like, are you sure? Was that a thing?
Yeah, that was a thing.
And I was like, oh shit, I probably slept through that part.
Vince Freeze getting 9th.
Vince Freeze has been in the top 10.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say I'm not a fan, so I'm not gonna say I'm pleasantly surprised, but I am very surprised, and I think he's going back to Canada again this year. Either way, I think that with the way a Supercross season, he deserves a ride for outdoors somewhere. So he's kind of changing the narrative a little bit on his career. I mean, he's basically been known for a jackass that nobody can stand. So and now he's quietly putting in, top 10 rides.
He doesn't party with us in Temecula, so no one likes him, right?
No, he's not chilling up strip clubs with Brayton and drinking 40s and shit.
I don't know that Brayton's chilling at strip clubs anymore, but sure.
I know, but anyway, I'll just say it's good for him though that he's changing the narrative on his career, because he was looking like probably was going to be out of the industry in the next couple of years if he kept riding the way he was going. So, good for him.
Just because everyone hates him. So, Jake Weimer's subpar performance really screwed the pooch for you there on the old fantasy league.
Yeah, didn't even start the LCQ, you bastard. Oh,
Did you hear what happened to him?
No.
Do you hear what happened to Alex Ray in the main?
I was wondering what was going on, but no.
I don't know either. I don't know yet.
Weimer's just...
I'm sure we'll get that information, but I don't know right now.
Weimer just really needs to just hang him up.
And then, I mean, Marv won. Do you want to say anything about that other than Marv won?
I called it.
I didn't.
That's about it.
I thought Tomac was going to win for sure.
About it.
I didn't realize how small that stadium was. I really didn't. I was watching practice going, man, it kind of looks small. And then they started talking about the football field barely fit in there, and I was like, this is small.
Well, and let's also chalk it up to the fact that, if the whoops if there's not 2 whoops and just regular rhythm section, we're probably in like the low 40 lap times.
Oh,
that was the only reason we were where we were at. Like if there's just a normal like on-off triple or whatever there, we're probably in like 41 seconds. So I think that's another thing they looked at and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to do something really like technical here, because if not, but yeah, that stadium's probably the smallest stadium.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So
have you heard how many guys are like, I don't know why when we go to Seattle, we don't ride at the baseball stadium that's enclosed.
Yeah, I think people are really over
riding in the rain at Seattle.
Riding in the rain, because I think out of the last 8 times they've been there, we've had like 2 races that are dry, and the other have either been mud or snow.
Well, it cracks me up because it's like, okay, if there is a brand new nice stadium right next door that's enclosed, why don't we ride there?
Well, I just want to know, why do you make a sports stadium in Seattle of all places without an enclosed dome?
Why don't you call up the Green Bay Packers and ask them?
Well, the Minnesota Vikings were smart enough, but their building's like $5 billion. So, I mean, their thing like rotates off its axis.
Yeah, I know.
They're like, oh, we can just move the stadium like this.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're kind of at that point of the season where there's not a lot to talk about, guys.
Yeah, there wasn't really... I mean, there was drama, but again, you still got... Anderson's got the points lead going into Vegas. It's 14, 13.
He basically has to get top 10 if Marv wins.
Yeah, so it's not like super drastic. It could happen, but...
Hey, man, maybe he'll go down the first turn again.
Dude, how wild would
Oh, my God.
How wild would that be if, like, Marv wins this title over something like that? Or, like, let's not even say that. Let's just say, like, dabs a knee and blows out his ACL or something in, like, the first lap.
Zach Osborne's going to the 450s for outdoors if that happens.
Dude, can you imagine? That would just be wild.
If I'm Bobby Hewitt, I'm crying.
I would be screaming at the TV next week. I'd be like, no!
Oh, man.
Just as long as Marv doesn't win.
Well, he's the only one that mathematically has a shot, so...
I know.
Yeah.
So,
but I definitely didn't see it being this close. There was no freaking way you could have told me with how it's been all year.
No, we both thought going in yesterday that the title was going to get clinched yesterday. So.
And we were going to both have to eat crow.
Yep. So, all right, let's quit dragging out these 450s. Let's get to the 250s. All right, so 250s. The race was more exciting. However, there still isn't a whole lot to talk about.
Where's this Shane McElrath been? He got hurt after San Diego, but I mean,
the shit on Shane has been here for a while.
Yes.
And this was not this was the shit on Shane that we talk about of, well, we shouldn't shit on him. Because, yeah, no, he was on a mission to win that race.
Oh, dude, there was, like, everybody was like, oh, man, AC was catching him. I'm like, dude, he backed it down a lot those last 2 laps. Like, there was no chance anything was going to happen other than Shane hitting the deck, that everybody else was going to win. And was the only guy to get through the whoops clean about 90% of the main. And he just like, fuck it, I'm going to bang through him.
I was going to say, he figured out real early on that he could go down the left side, banging through him on that second set, and that's what got him that win. And
he's not really known for having the gnarliest whoop speed in the class either. So it's like, it was a little surprising.
It was. AC, again, fastest guy without a win. You want to know what's funny, though? They brought it up yesterday. I can't remember if it was during practice or the broadcast about the only dude to win a 250 title without actually winning a race. Can you name him?
Well, Tim Ferry did it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Tim right there.
Yep.
And they're like, maybe AC could do it. So, I mean, again, here we are. All 3 titles are coming down to Vegas, so that's cool. And it's just, it's funny, too, because they're all about the same. They're all 13, 14, 15 points separate, right?
Is Zach at 15 or 16 over Jordan?
I think he's 15. I thought it was 15. Maybe not. I don't know.
I think, yeah, it's either 15, but they're all at 15 or 16.
If we had a bigger desk, I'd have a computer, I could look it up.
Well, the only reason I want to say 16 is because I thought that Jordan was down 13 going into Foxborough.
Maybe that's it.
But either way, they're all at either 14, 15, or 16.
Say, they're within a few points collectively, and they're all like 15-ish points difference. So, again, you could have AC could possibly come back and win it. I mean, we saw wilder shit happen last year. At one point, AC was leading last year during the main, but...
And also, like, the one thing, and I know that you're going to say, well, oh, it was typical, but this time it was different, and it's funny that they even mentioned it, the thing with Savachi. Like, he wasn't in the championship, and usually with races where it doesn't matter, for like, there's no pressure on him, when he gets out front, he usually wins those races. And, dude, he was killing it. Like, he had, like, 2.5 seconds, and then as soon as AC and McElrath went around him, I'm almost thinking that he just said, whoa, like, I don't know if I can match that, that gnarliness.
Yeah, but you know where he lost it was in that second set of whoops, because he went right down that rut in the center and just was rolling through.
But how often have we seen Joey, and I know you talk about the Savachi syndrome, but how often have we seen Joey in the cases where when he's in the lead and he has nothing to lose, he wins those races 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Now, I could have seen that because if there was title implications and stuff, but because he was so far back, I'm like, what is going on right now? Most of the time, he gets out front like that with no pressure. He's gone. And I was just kind of shocked, but, you know, say, like, AP. I fully believe AP backed it down last night. He was just like, no, track's too gnarly.
Yep.
Don't want to push the pace. No point. You know, and, I mean, Sexton rode pretty good. A quiet 5th was just kind of, like, marking AP and kind of, you know, playing lose a little pace. Not really just the track was gnarly. It was really too hard to push. There was no traction there.
Yep.
So, I mean... There was great racing for probably, 9, 10 laps, and then everybody just kind of settled in and stuff, so...
Yep, so, but, okay, so, I mean, that was basically it for the 250. How about Jess Pettis? When's the LCQ, though?
He was on my fantasy squad. I was like, on the fence, because I've watched Pettis for a long time in his career, even though he's a kid. You know, I've watched him, I'm like, oh, God, and then when I see he doesn't line up for the heat race, I'm like... I'm like, oh my God.
I hate fantasy
so much. But, no, it was good to see him get in the main. He got into the one in the race. I think it was Seattle. Yeah. For some reason, I thought he got it in Oakland, but that, you know, he lawn darted over the berm. So, good for him. Probably the last race he'll do is Vegas because he's going back to Canada for his series. So, Blake Wharton, quiet 11th place or 10th place or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think, what was it? The IB Corp team had
everybody but Noah McConaughey.
3 out of 4 were in there, yeah.
And Noah McConaughey ragged himself into the ground in practice.
Yeah,
so that's the only reason he didn't make it in.
And Martin Castillo, whatever.
Castillo.
Frickin' 10th.
Yeah. I mean, too bad for most of those guys, other than maybe Wharton, they're not going to have a ride for outdoors. Because IB Corp doesn't do outdoors.
Yes.
Although I did hear the team that Chiz and Melross are on, 51-50.
Yes.
They're going at it for the first 3 rounds, and then Chiz is on his own. Because Hayden Melross, I think, goes back to Australia.
Oh.
So, just some news and notes there. I mean, like I said, we're at that point of the season where there's not a lot really going on.
So does everybody who's leading their points win their title next weekend?
Well, I was just about to get to that. I believe that they all do. But just for drama purpose, if there's one out of those 3 guys that could possibly lose their title, and I don't see it happening, who's it going to be? If you were to run through all the variables, what one out of those 3 guys in their respective class could possibly lose their championship?
AP.
Because of how stacked the West is?
Yes, and because he's notorious for making that bonehead mistake.
I think for him, his mindset is just get 5th. I think he's going to go in and he's literally going to ride probably the most tentative he's ever ridden in his life. You can't say Osborne because the only guy that can really beat him in the East Coast now that Forgner is J. Martin. He's too far back.
Yep.
And Anderson, with the depleted 450 field, once again.
I don't see him, losing either.
He's going to have an issue like he did last night.
Yep.
So, all right. Who wins 450 and then best East-West finisher for the shootout?
The 450, I'm still going to say Tomac's going to win.
Still going to stick with that, eh?
Still sticking with it.
All right. Well, you were
last
wrong.
round, I've been
wrong 2 in a row.
Been wrong a lot of times.
Well, he'd only win 8. He'd only win 8 this year instead of his 9 from last year.
Oh, whatever.
You know, I mean,
maybe when he gets to the season, he only wins like 7. Maybe he'll win a title that year.
Maybe he needs to just pull a Dungy and win only 4 races because you know, and that. Hey, how many did he win in outdoors? He only won 4, I think. 4 overalls.
I don't know.
So maybe he just needs to realize, hey man, maybe I just don't need to win.
4's the magic number.
4's the magic number, and I can win a championship.
So who wins the 250 shootout?
Well, no. Well, who wins, and then whichever their coast, who's the better, the other guy on the other coast. Like, you think AC's going to win, right? You still believe that?
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay, so who's the best finisher from the East?
I think Zach. I think Zach finishes second.
You think Zach beats J-Mart, who has nothing to lose at this point?
Man,
Zach has really nothing to prove. And even if he does, I don't think he's faster than the way J-Mart is riding right now. And Jordan, I don't fucking know. I think Jordan's too afraid to push at Vegas after how his season went last year.
I'm still going to go with Zach finishes second.
See, I'm gonna go J-Mart wins it, and AC is the best finisher on the West because I think other than McElrath, I think J-Mart and AC have nothing to lose at this point.
Wouldn't surprise me, but...
But I think what will be interesting is that if that scenario plays out, if J-Mart wins, if he wins by a lot, what is the talk going to be of what could have been his Supercross season? Because I think that, like I said, I think him, McElrath, and Shane at this point have nothing to lose. I think everybody else is kind of focused on outdoors. Zach and AP just want to win their titles. I think that those two still want to get some Supercross wins to validate their series, but I think AC needs it more. But, man, I think the AC is going to go this year without a win. I just do. I think that last night, and I said it, I don't know if I said it in the group. Yeah, I said it in the group text. I think that was his best shot to win last night because AP was not pushing it, and he still couldn't do it. And I think that he gets second, but I don't know, man. I think that the racing in Vegas could be pretty boring. I don't see a lot of fireworks happening.
I don't know. I thought last night was going to be real boring too, but it actually was entertaining for here and there. So
I mean, like I said, the only chance of any craziness happening though is that AP and Zacho are down in the first turn, and Anderson has some ridiculous bike issue.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Zacho was down in the first turn last year, so that could happen to both of them. It could. It really could. But the problem is that the points are too far along compared to where it was last year.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Anyway, okay, cool. So that pretty much wraps up another episode of the Moto Aftermath Show presented by TLR Coatings. We will be back next week to wrap up Vegas and the season.
And when's our outdoor video so we can let the folks know?
Week after that.
Week after Vegas?
Yes.
All right.
So
look for that.
Yes, because I have a feeling that you're probably right. The Vegas isn't going to be super exciting, so we may film a 2 for next weekend.
All right.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So anyway, so don't forget, subscribe, Facebook for preview shows, Instagram, Amazon, Patreon, Teespring. That's it. We're out. We'll see you guys next week.